it working better? I ended the shit and restarted the shit. Let me know if it's working better. Nah, here for you gaming. I don't think we good. I think it's fucked right now. I don't know if it's my internet. I don't know what it is, but it's choppy as shit. And I got people landscaping outside my goddamn window. What the fuck? Is it working? Because I can't tell. It doesn't look like it's fucking working on my end. It's all choppy and slow as shit. Stream is okay, but the gameplay is choppy. Well, let me reload that shit then. Say fuck that video. Let's try reloading that shit. Get the fuck out of here. And I'll reload that shit. Give me 1 second. Man, this stream is off to a fucking banging start. This shit's small. Alright, well, you guys let me know if that fucking works better. Anyway. So what's up, motherfuckers? Yeah, right, I'm using that Microsoft tech. It's not working because it's fucking overheating, man. Touched my mouse and it burnt my finger. Streaming is the future of gaming is a lie. I mean, it's not a lie. It's just, I don't think it's going to be as soon as what people are thinking. But it's definitely not a lie. That 100% is the future. I just don't like it as the future because I prefer traditional consoles. Why'd I delete the PS5 breakdown video reaction? It's still alive, so I don't know what you're talking about. Let me see. Make sure, because I haven't deleted shit. You're right, it's gone. I don't know where the fuck it went. Or why it disappeared, because I didn't delete the video. There's no reason for me to delete the video. So I don't know why it's gone. That's super fucking weird. Yeah, I can't see it anymore either, man. I don't know what the fuck that's about, because I sure as shit didn't delete it. There's no reason to. Fox UK Games is an English dub with a PS5 breakdown. Dude, I saw that video and I was like, what the fuck? That dude just literally played the PS5 breakdown video with the subtitles so we could see the subtitles. And it's not like he was giving his thoughts or giving his reaction or giving his opinion. He just fucking read the subtitles. It was like fucking story time with Foxy Games UK. And it's like, motherfucker, my eyes work, you asshole. Why, you made a whole video just to read me some shit? What a waste of fucking time that was. Dude, it was so fucking dumb. Jesus Christ. It's right where, Anarchist? Yamato, yeah, I don't see it. When I go into look at my videos, I don't see it there. I mean, let me go into... I don't know, man. I'll worry about it later, but yeah, I don't see it when I look at the list of my videos. And it's not like I'm hiding it or anything. But I didn't delete it. That's for damn sure. There was no reason for me to delete it. You catch the Dealer Gaming Breakdown fucking douche? Nah, I don't watch that piece of shit. Everything he says is biased. He's just like Colt Eastwood. Anytime he might give PlayStation any type of praise, it's always followed by like a backhanded compliment. I don't fucking take him seriously. It's still buffering? Sure, Uncle Phil. I love my overheated SXX. Thank you, Uncle Phil. That's the best Xbox yet. What's up, Drong Soul? You still have the link and it said uploader has made it unavailable. Let me see. I was looking at... Let me see what's going on here. Fucking... Let me see. Yeah, it may say that I made it unavailable, but I don't fucking see it. If I go in like the list of my things, I have the do-over stream number 3. The next video was the shrinking storage of the next-gen console. The next video was Xbox Series X reportedly runs very hot. The very next video was my breakdown or my reaction to the teardown, and it's just fucking gone. I don't know where the fuck that went. And then after that, of course, is my Screwgate Twitter bitch roast video. So, man, I don't know where the fuck it went or why, but that's kind of shitty. That's kind of shitty, man. But it is what it is. So, stream's good now? Good to know, good to know. Is the chat working in the stream? When did the two lads lose weight? Fucking months and months and months ago, man. I'm not going to say months and months and months ago, because months and months and months ago I wasn't even making videos. But probably a good month and a half. I envisioned something more like this when I was thinking of the Dude Bros and my just limited artistic abilities. I mean, I can draw well, I just haven't practiced. So I just drew those other dudes like real quick. But I always had in mind more of like a fucking surfer bro, surfer skater dude bro. And so that's these guys. What am I going to use the Xbox for? For whatever exclusives it has that I am interested in. Because I don't give a fuck if it plays multiplats better. The PS5 is going to be my multiplat machine just because I prefer PlayStation. Imagine the Series S actual SSD size. It's going to be tiny. It's going to be like 300 gig. I find it hypocritical that Xbox say that the controller is consumer pro while the SSD is proprietary. Yeah, no, the proprietary SSD is definitely not pro consumer. And it's expensive. We know it's like $220. And that's not going to change anytime soon. The second that PlayStation starts having other people making SSDs, and they already have the one from what's it, Western Digital? And the Western Digital one is the same price as the SSD in Series X. And once you have more manufacturers making SSDs, the price of the SSD is going to drop for PlayStation 5. The proprietary shit's going to be the same for Series X. I saw some bitch trying to say that, oh, well, the SSD that Western Digital makes for the PS5 is $10 more expensive than the Seagate SSD for Series X. And it's like, bro, that SSD is 3 times as fast. Man, go suck a dick. The controller is just lazy. Like, when I get my next generation console, I want everything about it, everything to feel new. Like with the PlayStation, from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 3, that controller didn't fucking change. It got dual analog sticks at some point during the PlayStation life cycle for, what's it called? Ape Escape. Then the original Dual Shock, which was the one on PS2, was just that controller but black. Then we got the 6-axis for the PS3 because they had to get rid of the rumble because of a lawsuit. And that was just the PS2 controller but wireless. Then they added the rumble back in and it was the DualShock 3, but it was the same fucking controller. But when we got the PlayStation 4 and the DualShock 4, it was a brand new controller, dude. It felt fucking new. It felt fresh. And it fucking added to the experience of getting something brand new. And now getting this new next generation PS5 and getting the DualSense, something that's even more different than the DualShock 4 was from the DualShock 3. It's like, yo, that is exciting. When you buy a Series X, you're getting the fucking Xbox One controller with a new D-pad and a fucking button that was stolen from the DualShock 4. It's lazy as fuck, I'm sorry. And you can't tell me that they couldn't have innovated more on the controller. They didn't have to change the shape, they could have done some other shit. Added some other features. They didn't do shit. It's got the same impulse triggers that the Xbox One did. They didn't add anything else. So, whatever. Fuck that controller. Have you seen King Thrash's teardown videos? Yeah, I watch all Thrash's videos. Really hope the haptics are as good as rumored. The Switch is just weak when it comes to the haptics. The Switch is weak, but I'm pretty sure the haptics that are going to be in the DualSense are probably going to be a little bit more powerful because the Joy-Cons, let's be straight, they're fucking tiny. The Joy-Cons are tiny, but think about anyone that has a cell phone, for example. Like, I have an iPhone, and it has haptic feedback. Well, they call it the Taptic engine, or whatever the fuck they call it, haptic feedback. And it can simulate all kinds of shit. It can simulate the feeling of pressing a button when you click the screen. Nothing's clicking, but it simulates the feeling of clicking a button. When you're scrolling through some lists or menus, it can simulate the feeling of scrolling through a menu. It can simulate different feelings for shit. So I imagine that it's going to be cool. I don't know if it's going to be some mind-blowing experience, but I imagine it's going to be cool. And from the people that have had hands-on time with the DualSense, it seems like you can feel a difference. Now, in terms of whether or not we're going to see the developers do something with it, I don't know. I would hope that they are. But we'll see. I really hope it doesn't end up being like the fucking touchpad where nobody fucking uses it. It's just basically a giant select button. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. I don't know how people can hate on the PS5 teardown. Everything in the PS5 was made for a specific reason. Bro, they're only hating on the PS5 teardown because A, they don't know shit, B, fanboys, or C, they're just looking to fucking troll people because there is nothing about the PlayStation 5 teardown that you can bitch about. There's nothing about the PlayStation 5 teardown that you could talk shit about unless you're just looking to start shit or, like I said, you're a fucking idiot. Because that was like the epitome of Japanese engineering. Everything just fucking completely super well thought out and executed. And they thought about everything, man. Like I said in my video that somehow disappeared, that the second I saw that there was a spot to hold the screw in the base, I was like, yo, this video is going to be fucking lit for the teardown video. Like, the amount of engineering that just went into making that plastic fucking base. It's just a coaster that they fucking glued onto the bottom of the Series X. That's all their base is. But the amount of engineering that went into the fucking base for the PS5, that simple piece of plastic, still required fucking who knows how many hours of engineering to make it work properly. To have that compartment that holds the screw, that holds the plug that then goes in the screw hole, that spins to close up the hole where the screw goes. Like, there's so much thought and engineering just in that fucking base. What's up, Salty? Hey, Supernova, can you talk about the external SSD if it's supposed to run at 7 degrees Celsius even on standby? You know someone Kids gonna burn their fingers on it. 7 degrees Celsius is 160 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know about that shit, man. I don't know if it is supposed to run that hot or if it's gonna run that hot. All I know is that your kid shouldn't get burned on the memory card because your kid shouldn't be touching the fucking memory card. If I had a kid, that fucking memory card could be 5,000 degrees. He's never gonna burn his hand because he ain't touching the goddamn memory card, or he's gonna catch these hands. I'll go fucking kung fu on his ass. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what temperature they're supposed to operate at. I know the SSDs can get warm. And I know that's why sometimes they have little fans and shit on them sometimes. And that's another upside to the PlayStation 5 design. Where it's located at, it's going to get airflow on it from the cooling solution in the PS5. And the Series X isn't, which is probably why the SSD gets so hot. And that also affects, performance, obviously. But other than that, I don't know. And stuttering again, I think Linda is censoring you. Probably, like I said, because she's a coont, that dumb bitch. By the way, have you heard the news that Ghost of Tsushima on PS5 will be on boost mode, giving you 60 frames per second? I did, in fact, hear that. Yes, I did. That's fucking dope-ass shit. When the X is outside, you have an ugly base stuck to the side you can't remove. Yeah, it's some fucking glued-on coaster. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't make it something that's removable. You don't need a screw to fucking remove it. Like, the Xbox Series X, because it's that giant fucking just square column, they could have just had a base that clips into the bottom because the base is only there to keep the bottom off the ground so the airflow can come in from the bottom. That base is not to stop it from tipping over. The PlayStation 5's base is to help prevent it from tipping over because of the shape. That's not what the base for the Series X is doing. That's just to lift it up off the ground so it can get some airflow in through the bottom. So why not just make it something that fucking clips on? And then when you turn it sideways, you unclip that shit. Why isn't it like that? Oh, that's right, because they didn't engineer it well. I mean, bottom line, you're going to turn it sideways and have that ugly-ass fucking coaster stuck to the side of the fucking Xbox. That part wasn't engineered well. I'm not going to speak to the rest of the console, but that part specifically, not engineered well. How difficult would it have been to make it something that just clips on? Seriously. You haven't died, I still have him. Who are you talking about? Big ass punk, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. How are Xbox users going to remove the dust, I wonder? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not even sure how it comes apart, because we've never seen anyone take it apart. Like, this dude took it apart with screws and shit. Anytime we've seen someone taking it apart, they were given like these mock-ups where all the parts are connected magnetically. There's no screws or anything. They're not real units. They're just mock-ups so that they can take it apart and lay out the pieces. So we haven't actually seen how you take the shit apart, how you access all the shit. So I don't know how the fuck you clean anything out. If you could, like I was saying on the Saltiest podcast last night, I don't know if you can remove the fan without even voiding the warranty. So I don't know. But the other thing is, when not in use, dust is going to be fucking falling into the grates on the top. Dust is also going to be collecting around the base at the bottom. And then when you turn that shit on, it's going to be pulling up dust from the ground up through the Xbox and then trying to shoot it out the top. Well, what's going to happen when you do that? Well, it's going to get stuck on a bunch of the shit that's in there. It's also probably going to collect on a lot of the fins of the fucking heatsink. So that's why I think the design of the PS5 is better in terms of the fact that it's pulling air from the top, but then it's pushing it out through the heatsink on the back. And it's not pulling dust off the ground. Fun fact, PS5 has more T-flops than Xbox brains. So basically, a time bomb? No, I'm not going to say a time bomb. I don't think it's going to have issues. I'm just saying that when I'm sitting and actually thinking about it, and again, I'm not an engineer. I don't fucking know how all this shit works. I'm sure they did plenty of testing, but when my layman brain sits down and thinks about it, it's like they're pulling dust up from the ground and trying to shoot it out the top, and there's a bunch of shit in there it's gonna get caught on, including the fins on the heatsink. But again, that's just my layman brain working. They probably have worked it out. Who the hell knows? Hey Super, what do you think of the Series X having a much smaller heatsink and no liquid metal, though having more power in the heat? It has a much smaller heatsink, but it's because the board that it's trying to cool is not as big. Like, the heatsink for the PlayStation 5 is so massive, partly because they wanted it to cover a lot of that ventilation on the back, and partly because of the size of the board on the PS5. The board on the Series X is a much smaller board, so the heatsink is a much smaller heatsink. I don't think that means it's necessarily going to be less effective, but that is why it's smaller. Now, in terms of the liquid metal, I don't know why Series X why they chose not to go with liquid metal. I don't know if it was just a we don't want to spend the money thing. I don't know if it was just a we didn't think about it thing, because there's a lot of shit in the PS5, that the Series X doesn't have, and they could have. I mean, they're the same fucking price, and the Series X doesn't have liquid metal, doesn't have copper for its components like the heatsink, doesn't have USB Type-C, doesn't have Bluetooth 5.1, doesn't have Wi-Fi 6. Like, there's so much shit that the Series X hardware doesn't have, but it's the same fucking price. And it's like, why? They also don't have the extremely customized SSD that the PlayStation 5 has, which is expensive. So why is the Series X the same price? I don't know. But maybe they chose not to go with liquid metal because they don't need it. Maybe they found that the regular thermal paste is more than fine. I think that PlayStation 5 went above and beyond. They weren't like, hey, we want to make sure that shit stays cool. I think they were like, yo, we want to make sure this motherfucker's gonna stay cool as fucking ice no matter what we do to it. We don't give a fuck if the devil is playing this shit at his house and he's running the most hardcore game that you can think of, and he's been playing non-stop for like 2 months straight. This shit's not gonna overheat, because they made a point to say a while ago that it was designed, I think Mark Cerny said in the Road to PS5, that they were focusing on making it so that it didn't matter what heat you were playing, like what the heat of the environment was that you're playing it in, that it would not overheat at all. They would always stay cool. So I think they just went above and beyond to make sure that shit was the case. But you can't fry an egg on the PS5, so Xbox Series X is better for breakfast gaming, probably. PS5 has variable clock frequency, that it does. Just imagine if Animal Crossing won Game of the Year 2020. I'd be pretty fucking pissed. I don't even think that shit should be nominated. I've never played Animal Crossing, I mean, to be fair. It could be a fun game, but I just look at it, I'm like, yo, you guys are spending all your time fucking planting crops and tending the crops, and I'm like, dude, you guys are working. That's work, man, I'm sorry. Animal Crossing is not a game. It's a fucking job, and you don't even get fucking paid for it. The PS5 heatsink looks like a Desert Eagle. Yeah, it looks like a gun. It's fucking huge. Why people are always comparing the specs in terms of gigahertz, GPU, and teraflops. Apple beats Android with lower specs, but it's so well optimized that it beats Android in benchmarks. Optimization is key. 100%. The iPhone is so well optimized, it always beats Android. And the main reason for that, though, is that Apple has to make an OS for one device. One. I mean, there's small variations of the device, but for the most part, it's one device. Android has to work on a bajillion million fucking devices. Doesn't matter, different cameras, different resolution screens, different features, different, CPUs, different GPUs, different this, different that. They can't optimize for shit. And that's why you'll have, Snapdragons that look like they're super powerful. And then you have Apple coming in with its fucking A14 processor, and it just annihilates shit. And they benchmark their phones and they just destroy shit. The only thing that Apple phones lack compared to the flagship Android phones is that Apple doesn't give their phones as much RAM. If Apple gave their phones as much RAM as the Samsung flagship devices, it'd be fucking not even close. Apple's OS is restrictive garbage. I 100% agree. If the only thing that makes me consider leaving my iPhone, well, there's a few things. One is the OS is restrictive as shit, and I love personalization. Before I had my iPhone, and my first iPhone was the iPhone 4, because before that, I thought iPhones were pure shit. I thought they were literally just phones with an app store, and people only liked them because they had an app store, but the phone couldn't do anything. And this was at the time where the phone couldn't even send a picture message. It couldn't do shit. And I was using these Nokia phones that no one had even heard of, like Nokia N95. And I was doing all kinds of crazy shit. I was like, yo, can your phone do this? Oh, it can't? Oh, that's cool. Yo, can your iPhone do this? Oh, it can't? Oh, that's cool. Oh, can your iPhone do this? Oh, it can't? Oh, that's cool. But that's the best phone ever on the planet Earth, right? The only difference is your phone has the quote-unquote App Store, and everyone had these huge hard-ons for the App Store. But take the App Store away, and it was a fucking brick that did nothing, that couldn't even send picture messages. But when the iPhone 4 came out, and at that point now you could do picture messaging and a bunch of shit, that's when I hopped on the iPhone 4 bandwagon. But before that, man, I had super customized Nokia phones that you could do all kinds of crazy shit with. Like I had one that was a slider phone, and when I would slide it up, it would unlock, and it would play like the sound of a car unlocking, you know, click click, or the beeps. And then when I close it, it would do the lock sound. Or when I took pictures, it would flash and it would play the Neuralizer song, or not the song, but the Neuralizer sound from Men in Black, which is super dope to have that. Like, I don't give a fuck what phone you have. If you're taking pictures of people and your flash makes the regular flash noise and not the Neuralizer sound, and you have the ability to change the flash sound, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get on that shit. Change it now. So I miss all that shit, all that customization I was able to do, all the custom themes and shit. So now I've had every iPhone since the iPhone 4, and the thing that really makes me want to go to Android or switch to an Android device is the freedom of being able to do mostly whatever you want. And like I have a tablet, it's a Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Plus or some shit. So I'm used to the Android OS. So I'm thinking about switching. So that was the one thing. Damn, that was a long ass explanation for the first reason why I think about switching from iPhone to something else. The second is, in my opinion, Apple doesn't fucking innovate. They haven't innovated or done shit in years. I've been waiting for new features to come to the iPhone. And every year it's like, oh, we get rumors of features that are going to be in the phone. And then we find out the phone doesn't have it. And it's like, oh, but next year they're going to have it. And then the same thing happens. iPhone is the Xbox of fucking cell phones. It's, oh, wait till next September. Wait till next September. Wait till the next iPhone. We're going to get it in the next iPhone. They are the fucking Xbox of phones. So I'm waiting for these features, waiting for these features, waiting for these features. And we never fucking get it. We have Face ID on the iPhone. Why? Because they wanted to go with a full screen display, and they could not make the under display fingerprint reader work, but they wanted to go full screen before somebody else did. So they got rid of Touch ID, gave us Face ID, which in my opinion is far less convenient, even if it's more secure, and that's what we use now. And then a year or two later, what happens? Some fucking no-name Chinese company now has under the screen fingerprint readers, and you can get that in a phone for like $300. So it's like, yo, Apple, where the fuck are you at? You were supposedly working on this. But couldn't get it to work in time. So you switched to Face ID because you can get that to work faster. And now we've had Face ID for what? 4 years? 5 years? And we still have a notch because of Face ID. Still have a fucking notch. And these cheap Chinese phones, $300, $400, have under display fingerprint readers. and full screen displays minus a cutout for the fucking camera. They may even have a solution where the camera pops out for the facey camera. For the selfie, I mean. So it's like, where are you at? They're supposedly innovating or working on shit, or working on a feature that we're supposedly going to get, and then we never get it. And then some fucking Chinese company comes out with the same feature that Apple was supposedly going to have for $300 on some crazy budget phone. So it's like, yo, they're not innovating for shit. So I give it another year or two, and if they haven't done anything cool with the iPhone, I'm bouncing. I'm done. Android may have had Face Unlock before Apple, but Android's Face Unlock is not as good or secure as Apple, which is why Apple is still the only device that can use your face as a form of payment. You can use your face to get into your bank app. You can use your face to make purchases. You can't do that on Android. You can use your face to unlock your phone, but you got to use your fingerprint to make purchases. Face Unlock is not as secure on Android as Face ID is on Apple. And they just got widgets. Yeah, they just got widgets. And it's not even that fucking great. It's only a couple widgets. And it still sucks dick. Still sucks dick. You already monetized your YouTube page? No, man. No, they don't monetize me. They don't monetize me, man. They won't. I don't know why. Like I said, I apply for monetization. I get denied. They don't tell me why I'm denied. I can't fix what I don't know is broken. So, fuck them. So, for anyone that wants to support me monetarily, if you want to do that, you know, like it says at the bottom, you can consider becoming a patron. You can go to my Teespring store, buy some merch, donate to me on PayPal, because YouTube are a bunch of bastards. And like I always go on this little mini rant. I'm going to go on again because it annoys the shit out of me. The thing that pisses me off about YouTube is I don't give a fuck about getting ad revenue for the channel. Like, if they don't want to give me ad revenue, or they want to say, oh, well, for whatever reason, they don't want to put ads on it, or I'm not advertiser friendly, that's fine. But there are so many things that are tied with getting approved for monetization that I would like to have. The join button. The join button so that people can join and pay a monthly fee to become a member of my YouTube channel, or the super chat ability for things like my live streams, or the shelf, the merch shelf that goes under my videos. Those are all tied to getting approved for monetization. And the thing is, the join button has nothing to do with advertisers. The super chat has nothing to do with advertisers. The shelf for my merchandise has nothing to do with advertisers. That's you as the people that watch me wanting to give me your money. It has nothing to do with advertisers. But YouTube says, fuck you. You can't have the money that these people may want to give you because we're not gonna approve you for monetization. So I wish that they would separate those things and have a monetization for ads and then have monetization, features for everything else. I really loved how Apple showed the middle finger to Phil Spencer. Yeah. I'm sure he was pissed off about that. Video stuttering, but audio is good. Hey, as long as you can hear me, fuck that video. Alright? We get to Supernova, you don't get paid from ads. Hey, Jesus Christ, man. Someone asked me a fucking question. I was just answering their question, and like I said, I went on a mini rant because it annoys the shit out of me. And if you've seen any of my videos, shit, I talk about it. I go on a little rant. Your laugh is so funny. Thanks, man. YouTube will monetize you when they can take a cut. They take a cut no matter what. They could monetize me now and take a cut. So, I don't know why. Video start again. Man, well, fuck the video. As long as you guys can hear me, that's all that matters. Fuck the video. Fuck the chat. I'll get this shit sorted out for the next live stream. Because I think I'm going to try to do live streams probably every Friday. I'll make it like a Friday thing. So we'll do a live stream every Friday, and then maybe I'll rename it the NovaNation podcast. It'll just be my quote unquote podcast, even though it'll just be me. But you know, the NovaNation podcast. Supernova, I'll send you a blank check. A blank check made out to go fuck yourself. Is that what's gonna be on the check? For go fuck yourself dollars and go fuck yourself cents. Microsoft killed off its own stores. Yeah, they were trying to compete with Apple, and it's sad because their Surface devices are actually really good devices, but back in the day, their Surface devices just weren't able to compete, and Apple sells so many things. They have their own phones, they have their own computers, they have their own tab. Microsoft at the time didn't sell computers. They sold, I think, tablets, and I think at the time still phones. And it's like, that's not going to be good enough to compete with Apple, so they shut down the stores. And you know, good on them. Why pay rent for locations and malls and all these other places? You can just sell that shit through Amazon or through your website. You're not going to be able to compete with Apple. Very few people are going to be able to set up stores like Apple or use the Apple Store model and be successful. Hey, my supernova, how are you doing on this kind of cold day? I'm doing good, man. I live in Arizona, so it's a kind of amazing weather day, because when it gets cold in the rest of the world, in Arizona, it's t-shirt and shorts weather, baby. When people are fucking balls deep in snow in New York, where I'm originally from, I was born in New York. When they're balls deep in snow and it's fucking like 0 degrees and it feels like -20 with wind chill, and they're out there shoveling snow and shit, and just to get to their car that they have to start to warm it up before they can even go to work. When it's that cold, I can literally go outside in a t-shirt and shorts in Arizona. It's fucking amazing. I love it. Bring King Thrash to your podcast. We'll see. I'll ask him. I'll ask him one day if I do something like that. I think I need like more people if I'm gonna bring people in or ask people. I think it needs to be like a few of us, not just me. But I'll figure it out. I've got connections with people. You know, I know Thrash. I know Salty, Willie Gamer. There's people I can ask. I've done K Mega's podcast, so I could probably ask K Mega and see if he wants to be in, and just get a couple people in the bullshit. But it'll be something I have to put together. I'm down for a Nova cult. Can we do sacrifices? Yeah, we'll sacrifice bitches. Sacrifice Twitter bitches. Dealer's video was funny. Dealer's a fucking douche, man. I can't watch his shit. It annoys me. I have like a low tolerance for bullshit. So when I watch people like Dealer, I get like this inner rage that just fucking like grows and grows, and I gotta turn it off before I break something. I mean, I don't really get that angry, but it annoys the shit out of me. Take it with a grain of salt. Buffering. What part of New York? I was born in Westchester County. I was born in Mount Vernon, and then I was raised in Port Chester. Westchester County is where the X-Men are from, by the way. The X-Men live in Westchester. That's where Xavier's School for the Gifted is. That's why Marvel is better than DC. And I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Marvel's better than DC because their superheroes are better. Period. And Spider-Man's my favorite superhero of all time. But they are better because their superheroes live in real fucking places. You know? And also most of them are from New York, which is cool too, being a New Yorker originally. But, you know, they're from real places. Superman's from Metropolis, which is wannabe California. It's a fucking fake place. Batman's from Gotham, which is wannabe New York. That's a fucking fake place. Spider-Man's from fucking Queens. Right? Fucking Tony Stark, fucking Stark Tower. That shit's in the middle of New York City. So, nice X-Men. Yes, sir. X-Men are dope. I hope that the X-Men get brought into the MCU soon. That they fucking do it justice. Andrew Clay. DC is better. Man. About to catch his hands, Andrew Clay. Or Andre Clay, sorry. I saw your name and I instantly thought of Andrew Dice Clay. But it's Andre Clay, clearly. Send some bad bitches my way. I just turned on the jacuzzi. Which games from Sony do you think will be cross-gen? Well, we already know. Spider-Man's cross-gen. Horizon Forbidden West is cross-gen. I think that may be where it ends. Because not Spider-Man. God of War is supposed to be 2021. And as far as I know, that is not cross-gen. If that game is cross-gen, I'm going to be very, very, very irritated. So I'm hoping and praying the cross-gen ends with Miles Morales and with Forbidden West. But with the way PlayStation has handled that, it wouldn't surprise me if there were other games that were cross-gen. DC is better, no offense. Hey, I'm not going to take offense. I'm just going to say you're wrong. You're wrong, bottom line. Which games from Sony? I already read that. Supernova, people think that the graphics is based on GPU and CPU, so they compare these specs, but the SSD is much more important than that because that you can load high texture, so SSD. I wouldn't say SSD is greater than GPU. They all have to work in tandem and to create something. And that's why people that are on this whole like, oh, all these PlayStation 5 games are 1440p, fucking 1440p peasants. And it's like, yeah, because why waste power to make it full 4K 2160p when you can't really tell the difference between 2160p and 1440p. You know, visually they're almost identical, especially if you're using things like checkerboard rendering or other, things like that to make it look like 2160p straight 4K. And with that horsepower that you're saving, you can then push way more shit into the environment, way more detailed shit. And with the SSD being so fast, you can load way more shit and load it as fast as you're moving. So as fast as you're turning your character around, the game is able to load all of the assets on the screen. So they don't have to worry about loading shit out of view and wasting GPU, CPU, and all that shit. So it's everything working together. And that's why you're going to see, in my opinion, and I may be wrong, but I'm going to go on a limb and say, you will see games. Sorry, I was taking a drink. You will see games this console generation that are going to look better than Xbox Series X games. I think the first-party games that PS5 is going to have are going to shit on any first-party games the Series X has. And it's because the 52 CUs and the fucking 2, teraflops that it has extra are not going to be able to make up for the fact that PS5 is going to be able to put way more shit on screen. And not only that, way more detailed shit on the screen. Look at the Unreal 5 tech demo. That was 1440p, but they were able to load 8K assets into the fucking game. And look how detailed that world is. Look how detailed that environment is. So we have games that are going to be, or we're going to have games running that are going to be loading much more detailed assets and be able to put way more shit into the environments. We're going to have much more detailed worlds in PS5 games than you will in Series X games, in my opinion. Again, I may be wrong, but that's my prediction, that first-party games for the PS5 are going to destroy anything the Series X is able to offer. But we'll see. Time will tell. So I'm guessing the Xbox Series X is no good because of that mighty SSD? Nah, man, the Xbox Series X is a very powerful, very capable machine. The point is, there are things that it's just not going to be able to do that the PS5's SSD is going to make that be able to do. I'm not saying the Series X is shit. The Series X is still a fucking, an amazing machine, and I plan on getting one once I can fucking get a pre-order. But the SSD speeds of the PS5 are just going to make it so it can do things the Series X couldn't fucking possibly do. I mean, you think of the difference in GPU power from the Series X to the PS5 is only like 30%. It's not that big. Even Xbox themselves are talking about the speeds of the SSD and how it's going to be, make for better worlds and this and that. There's a video from Xbox that you can find online where, and this was of course before the PS5 SSD speeds were shown, where they were talking up the SSD and they were saying their favorite feature of the Series X, of course at that time still Project Scarlet, their favorite feature of Project Scarlet, because it was going to completely change the game in terms of what they were going to be able to do. So if I'm going to believe what Xbox has said, because of the speeds of the SSD they had completely changing the game, well, the PS5's SSD is 200 times faster. It is what it is, man. But again, doesn't mean the Xbox Series X is shit or bad. And it's way more capable when it comes to other things. As soon as I pop in, he's talking about the amazing SSD. Hey, man, someone was asking about the SSD. Take it up with Jamie Slater. Just like cars, American cars, big engine. Japan cars, its power comes to different components. Make the power, same power, different power. Yep. I love European cars. I'm an Audi Volkswagen person. The first car I bought was a 2000 Audi A4. And it was a 1.8 turbo. And I fucking souped that shit up. I put a bigger turbo in it, full exhaust intake, everything. And it was quad in it, full exhaust intake, everything. And it was quattro, it was all-wheel drive. So it was quick, but it was heavy. But my car, the 2015 Volkswagen Golf GTI, which is a 2.0 turbo. Small engine, 4 cylinders. And it came stock with 200 horsepower. But I got a tune for it, which instantly gave it like an extra 100 plus horsepower. It's got an intake. It's got a full fucking catless exhaust, 3-inch catless exhaust. And I'll come up against these big, V8 American muscle cars. They think they're going to kick the shit out of me because they only have 4 cylinders, and they get fucking walked on. It all depends. There's power, or this number doesn't. The other thing, the number for the GPU on Xbox is bigger. The number on the CPU is bigger. But those numbers don't tell the entire story. Same with PlayStation 5. The numbers on the SSD are bigger, but that doesn't tell the entire story. We have to see how all the parts work together. And that's how we determine how good or bad something is. We can't just look at a number on a piece of paper and say, oh, that one's better. That's not the way it works. Nova, what's your opinion on this IMS from Ireland? And I've had a PS5 pre-order since July. I don't know what you're talking about. This IMS from Ireland? Don't know what the fuck that is. What is your thought on Microsoft's tweet over Sony standing in lane, the console? I don't know what you're... That doesn't make any sense. Over Sony standing in lane, the console? I don't know if that's a typo. Can't wait for Wii U 2. What you want is a Kia Stinger 3.6 V6 twin turbo. Wipes the floor with my old BMW. Nah, what you want is a fucking Audi RS3. It's only a 2. But it's a 5-cylinder. And it comes stock with 400 horsepower. You tune that shit. Just a tune. Don't do anything else. Just a tune. That shit is fast as shit. And V6 sound nice, but 5 cylinders sound like little baby V10s. They sound amazing. And from a dig, you will break necks. That's like back in the day, there was an Audi S4. I wanted an S4 so bad. When I bought my Audi A4 back the 2000, that model generation is called B5. So my B5 A4 was a 1.8 turbo 4-cylinder. And if you got an S4 of the B5 generation, it was a 2.7 liter twin turbo V6. And I wanted that so bad, but it was way too expensive for me at the time because I was like fucking barely in my 20s. I didn't make very much money. But I was watching all these videos of these souped up S4s, just putting big turbos on the car, making like 700 horsepower, and just raping raping it. And I was like, fuck. And the V6 and the S4 sound is so nice. That 2.7 liter sound is so fucking nice. Can't wait for PS5 anime faceplate. I can't wait for any fucking faceplate. The faceplates are gonna be so dope. What I really want is I want that fucking faceplate design that that person made for the Miles Morales, the quote unquote Miles Morales edition. That's not real, but it looks so good, and it's got the 3-dimensional spider on it. And I'm like, oh man, I would throw so much money down to have that. But I want the 3-dimensional spider and fucking 3D webbing. That would be dope. But the way it's done, it's got the 3-dimensional spider with a gloss finish, and that's all matte black, but the webbing is gloss black. Dude, it looks so fucking clean. I fucking love that shit. I'll throw it up, man, the video I'm talking about, because for those of you who didn't see it, man, this shit looks clean as fuck. I'm like, I need it in my life. Let's see if I can find this shit. Here it is. Look at it. Sexy ass fucking console. Look at that shit. I don't know who the name of the person that designed it, but evidently it's Let's Go Digital. But look at this shit. Fucking look at it. Look at it. My dick just ripped a hole in my pants. PS5 is going to be fun to customize. Fuck yeah, it is. There's going to be so many cool things that are made for that. So many people doing cool, crazy 3D printing things. I'm having a friend hydro dipping mine. Dude, that's a good option too. So if we compare two SSDs, 5.5 gigabytes per second with 12 channels versus 3.5 gigabytes with 6 channels, so the Unreal game can't run on the Xbox Series X. The Unreal 5 tech demo can run on the Series X, but they would have to change things. That demo was input of the PlayStation 5, the SSD speed and all that shit. The IO throughput of the Series X can't compete with the IO throughput of the PS5. So yes, it could run that demo, but you'd have to disable some shit or turn some shit down. Like, I imagine the first thing they'd probably do is take the 8K textures for the environment and probably drop it down to 4K. They'd have to do something to limit the amount of information that needs to be processed, especially for that section at the end where she's flying through all of that shit. That's all 8K. So I imagine dropping it to 4K would probably help out. They could probably run it in that case. But to run it exactly as seen, no, you can't run that demo as seen. But can it run that demo? Yes, just not as seen, if that makes sense. To be fair, I like both companies. Like, I have an Xbox One right now, and I bought a PS5, so for me, I like both companies still. Yeah, I like both companies as well, man. I have my issues with Xbox, specifically this generation, that I'm hoping they fix next generation. The direction they're going next generation. But I like both companies, man. I've been a fan of both companies. I've owned every single generation of PlayStation, and I've owned every single generation of Xbox. That's not going to change next gen. I will have the Series X. It just depends on how long will it take me to get a pre-order done. Can you sell Super Hub faceplate? Well, I'll make Super Hub decals that you can put on your PlayStation. How about that? Because I'm not making faceplates. I think most fanboys pick sides because of money issues. I'm not sure why they pick sides. I don't know if it's money issues, but for people that only have one and aren't experiencing the other, I tell people all the time, go get the other one used. You don't have to buy it brand new. If a PS5 or a PS4 is still $200 or whatever, brand new in the store, then go buy one used. If an Xbox One is still whatever it costs in the store brand new, then go buy one used. You can probably find someone selling one used with games for $100 or less. So go do that. And that way you can experience the games from both, because to prevent yourself from experiencing the games that the other one has to offer, you're just letting yourself down. You should be able to experience the games that both have to offer. If you are indeed a true gamer, you should be able to experience all of the games that all of the platforms have to offer. And it's hard to own all three, especially because Switches are still expensive and used Switches are not going to be cheap ever because they're Switches. But it's easy to at least own two. And I'm getting warnings again about the stream, so I don't know what the fuck's going on. Just let it do its thing. It'll fucking fix itself, I'm hoping. I'm a Sony fan because Xbox has banned the sales of Xbox and their games in my home country. God damn, what country do you live in, man? That they ban the shit in your country. If you think the SSD is giving you better graphics, I don't know what to tell you. The SSD is going to allow them to put more shit on screen. So it's not necessarily going to give you better graphics. It's going to be able to put more shit into the environment, more shit into the world. Okay? And when you look at a game, what's going to look better? An environment that's barren or an environment that's got a lot more shit in it? I'm not saying that the Series X is going to have barren environments. I'm just saying the SSD and that additional speed of the SSD means being able to put way more things into the environment. So the level of the graphics isn't increasing. It's not going to increase, graphical fidelity. It's not doing any of that shit. But it's going to be able to put more pixels on screen than the Series X is able to do. So if you were to take a still shot and look at it, to your eyes, it is going to look better. At least that is the theory. SSD will not give you better graphics, but will give you more data of graphic, will benefit the open world games. Yeah. Not just the open world games, fucking any game. I'm from Indonesia, and Xbox has no market there. Well, you can get a PS4 games for less than $1, PS4 for less than $200. Xbox has nothing. Wolfenstein Youngblood, a lot of their games, Doom is still up to par. The PS5 is going to run 8K textures mainly because of the SSD. The PS5 is not going to run 8K textures. They could run 8K textures, but I don't think you're going to see that many games running 8K textures. But it could. It really could. And then you got to look at, are they going to have anything like DLSS built into the PlayStation? Because if they have something like DLSS, they can do all kinds of shit. Because DLSS allows them to do crazy amounts of shit at a lower resolution. I just watched a video from Digital Foundry yesterday. And with the updated DLSS 2.1, they are able to output 8K quality graphics at using only a 720p resolution. Because the DLSS is able to do everything else artificially. That's fucking insane. So you can basically run the game as if it's only 720p. And you're using the amount of energy and, the cost, quote unquote cost that it would be on your hardware. The cost of running a game at 720p to get the results of something at 8K. That is fucking insane. At using the ultra or extreme settings for the DLSS 2.1. That's fucking nuts. You don't need an 8K TV for 8K textures, I don't think. No, you don't need an 8K TV for 8K textures in the game. Because you're not actually looking at it being 8K. It's just it's going to be more detailed looking items in the game. That's all it is. Are you there, Nova? I'm here, Anarchist. You can't hear me? Can you guys not hear me? I think you can hear me because Red Harrison appears to hear me. So if that Unreal game can't run as seen on Xbox, why people are so hyped about the teraflops? Because this game looks better on PlayStation, so the SSD gives us better graphics. Well, first of all, it's not a game. It's just a tech demo. And why are people so hyped about T-flops? Because it's, what's the word I'm looking for? When you have people on both sides. I can't think of the tribal. It's tribal shit. And just like PlayStation people will talk about, bro, our SSD is faster, and that's what they brag about. Xbox people on their side, their tribal shit is, we have 12 teraflops, you have 10, our shit is better. You have 36 CUs, we have 52, our shit is better. But they focus less on the CUs and stuff. They focus on the teraflops because, for whatever reason, teraflops became a thing this gen where people thought teraflops was the end-all be-all. Excuse me. So, because teraflops became something we focused on this gen, teraflops became a focus for next gen. Even though I made a video a long time ago, and it was actually the first video after coming back from a long break that caused me to gain the popularity I have now. It was the first video I made, and it gained a lot of traction, and the title was Teraflops Don't Mean Shit. And I explained why they don't mean shit. But, because of tribal shit, you know, that's why they brag about teraflops, but it doesn't mean anything. You got 9.7, not 10. No, it's actually 10.28. I don't hear, oh, it's 10.28 when it's overclocked. It can't always run at 10.28. I don't care if it doesn't always run at 10.28. Can it run at 10.28? Yes. So it's 10.28 teraflops. End of fucking story. End of fucking story. That's like cars, and there's many cars like it, especially hybrids, where the car will be 900 horsepower, but it'll only actually be 800. But you can press a button to give you the extra horsepower for a short burst. So you're going to say that car does not have 900 horsepower? Is that what you're going to fucking tell me? If so, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. Because when you're racing that car, and he presses that button and gets that extra 100 horsepower and he's using all 900, he's using 900 horsepower. Same shit with the fucking 10.28. When it's using the 10.28, even if it's using it for a short period of time, it's still using 10.28 teraflops. Not fucking 9. So it is a 10.28 machine. But you go ahead and keep clowning on that if it makes you feel happy. Hold it tight like a pillow at night. If it makes you feel more secure, I don't give a fuck. So how long will the stream today? We should devote the last 20 minutes for another Lynn skit. Yeah, I don't know how long I'm gonna go today. I always say, oh, I'm gonna go for a couple hours, then hours turn into hours and hours, and then I'm like, oh, dude, it's been like 5 hours. We'll cut it off at 6, and then 2 hours later, I'm like, oh, dude, we'll cut it off at fucking 8 hours or 9 hours, and so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I got nowhere to go right now, nowhere to be. I'm here, so we'll see how long I go for. People, it's just the beginning of the next gen console, so no winner or loser. There's still a lot of time for us to see what they offer, and the true winners are the gamers who respects both consoles. True. And at the end of the day, Popeyes or Sonic. I don't know. Hopefully Popeyes, but it depends on if someone brings me food. True. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Specs don't matter. Games matter. It doesn't matter teraflops. Doesn't matter speed of the SSD. The games matter. Like I've said in another video, like I say all the time, the speed of the SSD, the amount of teraflops, those are tools. those numbers, those specs, those aren't for us. We talk about the specs, but they're not for us. The specs are for developers. They're tools for the developers to make games. We play the games, we don't play the specs. So as long as we get good games, the specs don't fucking matter. Hey, Supernova just got here. Did you see the backwards compatibility info from PlayStation on the PlayStation blog? Also found it interesting they refer to things like games have in a new UI. I don't know why people are saying they just confirmed this. Right after the road to PlayStation, people, because of something Mark Cerny said, because Mark Cerny said the top 100 PlayStation 4 games would do some shit, I forgot, and people right away assumed that he meant only the top 400 or the top 100 PS4 games would run on PS5, right? But PlayStation right after came out and said that no, it would be the vast majority of the over 4,000 existing PlayStation 4 games that would be compatible with PS5. So we have literally known this since the road to PS5. The problem is you had Xbox fanboys and fucking certain Xbox channels, you know the fuck they are, that didn't give a fuck that PlayStation said that. They rolled with the disinformation of, oh, Mark Cerny said only the top 100 games, so only about 100 games are going to be backwards compatible, even though it was complete bullshit. We have known since the road to PS5 that almost all of the 4,000 PS4 games will be backwards compatible. I've been telling people this since the road to PS5. I've been trying to correct as many people as I can. So when they said this in their blog, I was like, I already know this. And now we're having people like, oh my god, we got to make videos. Now the PlayStation has announced that. No, we've known this shit. The problem is we've had so many people spreading the lies and misinformation that a lot of people didn't know. But this is not new information. They're just reiterating information. Or if they want to say that they're confirming, they've already said it before. So to me, this is nothing new. I've already known this. We've been known this. They said it months ago, but anyway, long story short, it's good news, and I'm happy to hear it. 12 hours, let's beat the first stream. That's fucking 3 a.m., homie. That'd be a long-ass day. Ghost of Tsushima was under 2, so Xbox Series X 12 teraflops should be 6 times better. Is this correct? I don't know what you're trying to say, but that's not the way the shit works, man. Let's see here. Hi, Supernova. How's the good old Craigbox fanboys? They're fine. I think they're fine. I don't know. Sucker Punch mastered the PS4 hardware and they utilized it well. They did utilize it well. So did Naughty Dog and The Last of Us 2. They really pushed that console. Even with the 1.4 teraflops or whatever the fuck the PS4 has, the base one has. Xbox 7 nowhere near the level of PS5 devs or PS7. Yeah, right now as it sits, the Xbox devs are not on the level of the PlayStation developers. I think PlayStation's first-party studios, even with the acquisition of Bethesda and all those developers, PlayStation still has some of the best studios in the game right now. But we'll see if that changes next generation. How in the hell did Microsoft get away with not launching with anything exclusive? Nintendo or Sony did the same thing. We wouldn't hear the end of it. Props to Microsoft, I guess. They didn't get away with it. Their fans just don't give a fuck. And they're not going to act like they're upset about it because that would be admitting that Xbox totally fucked up. And they're just not going to do that. What I've noticed between Xbox fanboys and PS fanboys is that the PlayStation does something dumb, like Last of Us Part 2. The PS fanboys would call Sony out, but Xbox just damage control. I think that's true. I believe that. I think it's because I seen a study a long time ago. I don't know if it's still true, but I'd seen a study done a while ago. It was towards the end of the PlayStation 3 generation that said that PlayStation gamers tend to be more mature. They're older gamers, young adults, whereas the Xbox gamers tended to be younger kids, teenagers, kids in high school, and they were just way less mature. And I think in the study specifically, they were going into like online games and just looking at the discourse between people, and the Xbox people were just way more vulgar, way more way more willing to tell you to suck a dick online and shit. I guess so. Maybe that's why. Our PS4 games will not on PS5. I don't know what that means. Young and dumb. Yeah. As the saying goes, young, dumb, and full of cum. Can't wait to see sell figures of PS5 versus Xbox Series X. I predict they're going to be the same as PS4 versus Xbox One. I think it's going to be 2-1. Xbox is a mix of oldies and kids, nothing in between. Possibly. I haven't seen a recent breakdown of the demographics, but possibly. Do you mostly play single-player games? I get worried we will see less and less strictly single-player games in the AAA space next gen. I do. I prefer games that are single-player, that have, engaging narratives and, characters that you can get attached to and care for, and have stories that you get, that you can get involved in it and make you feel something. I want games and stories and characters that make me feel something. So that's why I really prefer single player games, and that's why PlayStation is my preferred platform, because of the games like that specifically that are, the games I like. To be honest, I think Xbox won't keep count of their units sold because they know the PS5 is the most anticipated console. Of course they're not. Unless they're outselling PS5, they're not going to tell us how many they sold. They're going to continue telling us that all they give a shit about is user engagement for Game Pass and their games. And they're going to tell us how many fucking blocks were broken, or how many trees were fucking broken in Minecraft, or, how many fucking this was made, or how many. That's what they do. They count shit that happens in the games versus how many games they sold, or versus how many consoles they sell. Stream buffering. Yeah, I'm sorry, Darkstar. It keeps doing that. It keeps fucking going in and out. It's really pissing me off, but I unfortunately have no control over it. I was trying to fuck with it in the beginning, but now I'm just riding the roller coaster like all of you guys. We're riding the roller coaster together, guys. Riding the roller coaster together. I play Rust too much. The toxicity in my veins. I want to remove. When was the last good Xbox game? Battletoads? LOL. I don't know the last good Xbox. Was even good enough to get nominated for Game of the Year was Gears 5, and that was the first in 7 fucking years. And old dude bro is better. You can't change my mind. Yeah, I know. A lot of people were kind of upset that I changed the dude bros from the chubby guys. They prefer the chubby guys, but these are the dude bros. These guys are here to stay. Xbox say narrative. They can't wait. They can't wait to have that exclusive Fallout. They can't wait for Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 to be exclusive. Man, they can suck a dick with their bullshit. They know that's where it's at. They just don't have those games. It's like anything else. It's shit because they don't have it. And the second they get it, then it's awesome. It's the way it always works, man. Hellblade 1 was garbage when it was PlayStation exclusive. The second Xbox got it, oh, Hellblade is awesome. And I'm talking about Hellblade 1, not even when they bought Ninja Theory and got Hellblade 2. The first Hellblade, when it was PS exclusive, that is shit. And the second they got it, when it went multi-plat, oh, it's awesome. It's like, alright, dude, whatever. I think in the future, Apple will be in the console market as well. In the future, Apple will compete for Sony. Imagine AAA gaming on A17 and devs can program for the whole platform. I don't know if Apple's going to compete in the gaming space. At least not in the console gaming space. I think they might compete when it comes to services for sure. I think they'll try to compete in the service space, but I don't think they're going to be competing when it comes to like consoles. If that's what you meant. Gears 5 was good, but 2019 was a pitiful year for games. I don't know, man. We had Sekiro, which won. We had fucking Resident Evil 2 Remake. Those are two bomb-ass games right there. Those are good games. Predict how many units the Halo franchise sold. 34 million, whereas Spider-Man by itself sold 13 million. Does anyone know if Hellblade 1 sold better on PS4? Anything is going to sell better on PS4 for a multitude of reasons. A, PlayStation people buy games. I don't understand what it is, but Xbox people do not buy games. It's the reason why Sunset Overdrive never got a sequel. Nobody bought Sunset Overdrive 1, and that was an awesome game, but not enough people bought it. It didn't sell well enough. It didn't get greenlit for a sequel. So PlayStation players tend to actually buy and support games. 1. 2, the install base is twice the size. You're never going to have a multiplat that comes out that sells better on Xbox when the install base for PS4 is twice the fucking size. So I don't even have to look it up. I will fucking put money on the fact that it sold better on PS4 because of those reasons. Let's see. If Apple is going to get into the gaming space, at least it would just be Apple Arcade Cloud Gaming. Yeah, they would do something like that. It would be some type of service. Like an Apple version of Google Stadia. They could probably do something like that, but I don't think very many people are going to be getting in the streaming device space. I think they'll just offer services for other shit, or services for the consoles. True, Xbox don't buy games, and they wonder why they get 6 out of 10 games with half the content. Yeah, I don't know why they don't buy games. And then Game Pass doesn't help because now they don't buy shit. They just pay for Game Pass and they get everything for fucking free. Or for how much it is a month, so it's perfect for them because they weren't buying the games to begin with. You don't ask to buy the games after you subscribe to it. Yeah, Andres or whatever, dude, keep the politics to yourself, man. I made a whole fucking video telling people who were bringing up politics that's fucking, kindly shut the fuck up because I don't care what your politics is. Our community's toxic enough as it is. We have enough toxicity just with PlayStation fanboys versus Xbox fanboys. We don't need to mix in politics because politics by far is the most toxic fucking topic you can talk about, especially now. So if you could please very kindly shut the fuck up and take your political comments. If you don't like it, you can dip. I don't give a fuck. Sorry for being so late. No worries, man. Doesn't matter. The stream is all over the place today. It keeps buffering and dropping, so it's not a great stream today, so I don't think you've missed anything. Plus, we haven't had any Steve and Linda skits or anything like that, so you haven't missed anything amazing. Can't wait for the new game plus for Ghost. Yeah, that's going to be dope. And I said, fuck him. I don't care if you said fuck him. Keep the political shit to yourself, bottom line. Sunset Overdrive would actually sell on PS4 or 5, I'd buy it. It would. I guarantee it would sell better on PS4, again, for the two reasons I said. A, PlayStation players support games, and the install base is just so large, especially now. The PS4 installed base is massive. Look who's here. Who's here? Who's here? Doge or Doge, whatever the fuck. Who's here? Why do people say if it's the biggest companies make a console, they might trash on all consoles? Like no company can touch Sony's PlayStation. That's not true. Any company can touch Sony's PlayStation if they do it right, if they play their cards right, if they do everything the right way, and like I said, nobody would have thought that Sony would enter the console space between Sega and Nintendo. And with their first console, not only basically fucking put Sega out of fucking business, but outsell Nintendo with their first console. Nobody would have thought that shit was possible. From Sony, the guys that make fucking Walkmans. These guys are going to make a video game system and put Sega out of business and outsell Nintendo? No fucking way. And here they come. So to say they can't touch PlayStation, not true at all. And if Apple really wanted to, with the money they have, they could do all kinds of crazy shit. With the money and technology they have, because like their chips, they're just now putting their chips in their computers, finally, because they've been using the Intel i7s and i9s and shit. But like their chips in their phones are crazy powerful. If Apple actually took the time to develop chips for their PCs to compete with Intel, their chips would be crazy, crazy fast. So if they wanted to make a console using their chips, they could probably make a console that was insanely powerful if they really wanted to, with the money they have. Games are like $120 in Australia. Dude, that's fucking insanely expensive. It's so obvious that Apple would join the console market. Imagine a game based on the Apple architecture instead of x86 bullshit architecture. Apple can give much more frames per second with that architecture. I don't know much about that, but I know that Apple shit, like Apple is amazingly good at optimization, and I know that the shit that they build is crazy powerful compared to everything else. So enter the console space, but I know if they wanted to, the console, I know the hardware that they make would be fucking incredible. The question is, would they have software that would match, or would they be relying on third-party shit? King Soup, I'm sorry about the political joke, man. It's all good. It's all good. Just don't do it again. Start whooping some people's asses. Man, I love Steam sales. I buy so many games, and I never played them. I saw someone say that you won't be able to use the 825GB SSD when you install the 1TB SSD. Some people will say so much shit. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. It is expandable storage. You're not replacing the SSD in the PS5. It is expandable storage. Do you understand what expandable means? Expandable storage. Like my dick. Expandable. Fucking idiots. I pointed out that Cerny in the road to PS5 said the M2 SSD drive will be able to storage will use decompression, the I/O, coprocessors, and everything else. Yeah, it's gonna work just like the internal SSD. It's gonna have the same access to the flash, the cache scrubbers, and all that shit. So the 125GB drive isn't rendered useless? No, man. What's the point of replacing, of spending $200+ because that's what it is right now, to get a 1TB SSD through Western Digital for PS5. What's the point of spending $220 or $30, whatever it is, for an SSD to put it in and only get like an extra 100, 200 gig? You're spending almost $100 per gig. There's no fucking way. And anyone that thinks that, man, I'm sorry. The people going around saying that shit, fucking dumb. Supernova has micro expandable storage. Man, fuck you. Fuck you, Salty. IKEA, that reminds me of fucking Triumph the Insult comic, dog. Fucking love Triumph. King Super, did you own a Neo Geo back then? Which consoles you had before? No, I never owned a Neo Geo, but I used to go in the local pizzeria by my house. They had a Neo Geo machine. I would go play that shit all the time. My console history starts with, I had an Atari way back in the fucking day. And then I also had a ColecoVision. Then I had a Nintendo Entertainment System. I had a Sega Genesis. I had a Super Nintendo. Then I had the PlayStation, PlayStation 2, Xbox, PS3, 360, PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch. I had every Nintendo system besides the Dreamcast, Wii, and Wii U. The stream has become a potato for me. Linda called the ISB guys. Yeah, fucking Linda's fucking with shit today, dude. She's being a gremlin for sure. Fucking with everything. I keep getting error messages, and I'm just sitting here not doing a goddamn thing. I don't think I've ever had more than 3 games installed on either of my consoles. I have a bunch stored on my PS5. I upgraded my PS5 to internal because my PS4 Pro obviously came with the 1 terabyte mechanical SSD, and I upgraded it to the 500 gigabyte Samsung